Hey, hello, beautifuls and beloveds. Ghetto style, right? Is that what they call ghetto rigging? Is that what they call this?
Ghetto rigging.
Ghetto
Yes.
rigging and just kind of low tech, low key. I hope this finds you well. I'm Noelle Rose Anderson Kale, the dance warrior, raw, real, and uncensored. And I basically tell you how I see things, my opinion, of course. And thank God we have the Constitution because we are free to be able to give you our opinion. And this is my opinion. I'm making that very clear. Opinion. And I'm giving examples. And, I do dance, I write, I sing, I draw, I think, I express, I feel. I do a lot of things, don't I? And I'm known to have a very strong, loud voice. Not big mouth. Well, it could be a big mouth sometime. I have a very loud, strong voice. And the Lord wants me to use that, which is one of my assets, and my strong heart. So I'm talking to you today about Emperor's new and old clothes. You know that story, yes? And don't be gullible. So let me see if I'm remembering the Emperor's new clothes properly as a story. Wasn't he walking around naked and people were saying, oh no, he has clothes on? And it took a little girl to say, he's naked. An emperor. Pretty interesting. So, let me say again, this is my opinion and I'm entitled to it. You can take it or leave it. I'm just pointing out a couple ideas and a couple examples because I don't want you, beloveds and beautifuls, to be taken for a ride or have the wool pulled over your eyes or for you to fall prey or victim to fear or anything like that. So I'm going to talk about the virus. And why is this a controversy? This is getting, to me, I think it's getting a little bit over, but then what are we really talking about? Now, this is not the plague. This has a 0.66% death rate. It isn't even, these are not my figures. Look it up yourself. It's not even close to the common flu. But from what I understand, correct me if I'm wrong, it is easily contracted. But remember we had the N1H1, that was the swine flu. It was the same thing. We didn't go through all this. So there's something else that makes me think, what's going on here? So let's just have some fun with this, okay? And I also want to say I am not being disrespectful to those who died. I've lost a lot of people due to a lot of things. Nobody from the virus. I don't even know anybody who's had it. So, I don't know. So I just want, I'm really talking about the Constitution and for you to be very aware of what's going on just in case. And this is not against the Trump presidency or his cabinet people or anybody like that. But I'm going to call it like I see it. And if you know something better and have better information that's more up to date, tell me so I can be corrected, stand corrected, and inform you. Okay, listen to this. You know this quote, I butchered it so many times. I think I got it right now. Once we have convinced everyone of the lie, we will know we have succeeded. Or of the lies. I should make that plural probably. Is it lie or lies?
I don't know the quote, so I can't tell you.
Okay. I might need you to pop in here.
Okay.
Okay, so we don't know if that's not from Animal Farm. 1984, I'm not sure if that's from 1984 or not. It might be. Or something. I don't know. I didn't make up the quote. I just saw it online. Can you go like this? Hold on. Thank you, beloved.
Yeah.
I just saw it online and I didn't know. I think I took a screenshot. I should have if I didn't. And it just caught me off guard and it really got my heart and my brain clicking and thinking because I'm like, something is just so staggeringly real about it and we need to be awake right now. So, why am I mentioning this? Because by the time you realize this, then my friends, it'll be too late. too late to turn back, too late to do anything, because the wool already has been pulled over your eyes, and then you have laws like the Patriot Act or something else, you know, because they use fear. Wait, hold on. Fear. Let me write this down. Hold on. Fear is their tool, and that's usually when they slip in these laws. I'll get back to that. Because they think everybody is gullible and so afraid. Oh, here, take care of me, government. Don't do that. Okay, so, you know, no one wants to sound insensitive or not respectful, not acknowledge deaths from this illness or any cause of death. But if we are going to be Bereans, which the Bible says, be a Berean, that was the Apostle Paul, if I'm not mistaken, we need to be able to seek truth, and not just your own personal truth, right? You have personal truth, you have scientific truth. You want that. You want factual truth. So what is the factual truth about what's happening? Well, something's happening. We know that. But here's my opinion. What if, and let's speculate, what if the number of deaths are inaccurate? For any reason. Mistakes, cover-ups. We really are going to form a thesis paper on this whole thing. Why? Because we think the American public needs to know, and we also enjoy doing this kind of stuff, and we've gotten pretty good at it because we're trying to save our own rear ends right now from horrible things happening to us. So, let's look at that. Well, what if the number of deaths are inaccurate? What if the bodies were already deceased from months ago? You know, they have this thing on, it's Hart Island in New York, right? Is it Hart Island in New York that we saw? Several articles, and they have mass graves. Well, what does mass mean? It usually means like lots and lots and lots, you would think. But we were actually counting the coffins, and they put them in pine boxes. And it's very much akin to what was happening during the Black Plague. It reminds me of something that we saw in the film Amadeus. You know, they just threw the bodies in the pit, and they threw, what is it, lime or something, lime salts. And, you know, so we're counting them, and we're not trying to be disrespectful, but we're like, are there really bodies in there, number one? Because we know for a fact that the media, not all the media, but a lot of the media has been lying. And it's become more and more frequent, which saddens me because I'm part of the media too. I'm a journalist, and I write as much as I can factual truth. So let's just speculate this. My mother's body was donated to science, which I hate that she wanted that done, because she was then referred to as a cadaver, and I got all these letters from this institution that collected my mother's body. No, she's my mom. I just couldn't stand it. I had to tell them to stop sending me stuff because it was just so disrespectful. But her body went to science. So what do they do with that? You know, and then we were hearing, do you guys listen to the press conferences? Listen to the press conferences. They have transcripts of everything. And President Trump said, we have people in back that are listening to every word we say. And we are too, and we're dissecting it, and we're like, wait a minute, some of these people, they're contradicting what they say. We'll get to that in a minute. But it's just very interesting to us. So, again, this is my opinion, and we're speculating so we can form a thesis, so we can present this and what we find. And this is how I do my journalistic papers. So, back in the day when journalists really did their research and they weren't just writing hype to please whoever their upper god was. So I don't do that. I really do real journalism. So let's look at this. What if they're just cadavers and they've been dead long ago? Did you ever see the X-Files movie? They said for that one little boy, they blew up the whole building. But was that child dead because of the current virus, or was that child dead already and they just put the body in there so it looked good? Now don't forget 9/11. Go back to 9/11 and go through the videos. Again, this is not my opinion, I'm just telling you what I saw. But I'll tell you when it's my opinion, but this is what I saw on videos, that they said somebody, an official, told people to go back inside a burning building. And my question is, wait, that's not protocol. You're supposed to run from a burning building. You should do it in a safe way, and there's supposed to be people in the lobby directing you out, not back in. If you look at, we have pamphlets and books and all of these things. You must run out of a burning building. You don't run back in. So were they trying to make the numbers go up to make it look more devastating? You gotta wonder. Hope not. Again, that is my opinion, but that actually happened. So you figure it out. We're still working on that thesis paper. Okay, so that is another one. That is another idea. What if they're cadavers? Or, because President Trump said he kept seeing all this equipment, right, in one of the press conferences?
Yeah.
All this equipment and body bags and all of this coming out. And you had an amazing thesis about the numbers. What was that one?
That they just transport the random bodies around to other hospitals and they use them as a way to count.
Why don't you come here for a second? I think that is a fascinating aspect to this. Again, a thesis. Go ahead.
That's it.
Oh, but there was something else you were saying. Where if there's this amount of deaths and this amount of bodies, remember you were doing this the other night? What was that for?
It was something similar to that. I'd have to remember. It's not going to happen quickly. I can't remember that quick.
That's okay. You can always do a cross dissolve here. No, oh wait, it was how could the body tally equal? Oh, why they first said it would be a higher amount.
Oh, right. Okay.
I got you.
So, if one wanted to pull something like this off, they would have to say that they're not going to need that many beds, and yet they address the whole public saying that they're going to need, or that there will be a lot of deaths. Now that doesn't make sense. If there's going to be a lot of deaths, then you clearly need more beds. And you're saying that the amount of deaths would be right here, but they said that basically you don't need that many beds, so they kept it down here. It should be here, but this is how many beds they supposedly had. So our country built hospitals to bring it back up here, and then suddenly, if there's nobody with the virus really, then they have this whole gap of space that would show empty hospital beds.
Mm-hmm.
So they'd have to fill up that space somehow, and usually to do that you need people with the virus.
Or dead bodies to fill in the space.
Or living people that just have it.
Yeah.
Which, how are you going to get that many actors? How are you going to get that many bodies? Especially since everything's literally being escorted from one hospital to another by, what, the Coast Guard or something? The Navy, something.
Something. It's more confusing every day. Everything's changing every day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's the thing that's affected more African Americans, and then they said it affected more Hispanics.
Yeah, within one day. And then they were saying that this attacks more men than women.
Yeah.
So if they want to do the burqa thing, that's usually a thing that they put on women to control and shame them and subject them to whatever whim they want. So there's a lot about this that is very, very disturbing. And I think a lot of people are, I hope not, but it looks like they're taking advantage of a very bad situation anyway. So then we're like, well, is there a real virus that's not as bad as the media is making it? At the same time that somebody's spinning something that has nothing to do with a virus, but it's actually a double meaning for something else, like protecting from being attacked another terrorist attack or something. Or maybe it's all true at the same time too. Again, you know how I say the rubber band ball, you have to pull each little rubber band apart and analyze it and say what is going on. Right now it's this convoluted mess. Read the transcripts, watch the press conferences, and you'll see exactly what we're talking about. We've been taking notes, we've been doing so much because we want to get to the bottom of this. Plus we don't have anything better to do. Thanks to whoever's behind all of this. And, you know, so we might as well just keep sharpening our reasoning and logic and decision-making and advocacy skills. Thank you, colleges. Liberal colleges did this.
Yeah. So what we're seeing is that it's mostly CDC that has most of this that puts out most of this contradictory information. And most of the time when I listen to them, I don't know what they're talking about, and I can usually keep up with all the mumbo jumbo. But just based on the basic layman's terms, a human being should not accept such a convoluted explanation. If you don't understand it, you need these people to clarify it, which they refuse to clarify it.
Yeah, and I think President Trump's doing a really good idea. He asks a few questions, like when Dr. Burks was telling the tale about her grandson having a 105-degree fever, and I'm like,
Granddaughter.
Oh, see, I pulled a Trump. I did the same thing. And I'm like, wait a minute. No, I thought it was grandson. No, it was daughter. I was right. She said daughter. That's right. Okay. 105. Even I know the baby's brain's going to be fried. 105 is pretty bad. You're hallucinating as an adult.
Yeah, how old was the kid?
10 months. She said 10 months old.
10 months old.
And then I'm like, why does this sound familiar? Because I was talking to you about a fever. We'll get to that.
And she said she was teaching the baby how to listen to their lungs?
Not the baby, but her daughter.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, at a time like this, you don't need to be listening to anybody's lungs. You need to get that child to a hospital so they don't die. Mm-hmm. And then Trump was kind of busting her chops, saying,
wow, 105, that's a lot of temperature.
That's a lot of temperature. And I'm like, it's not funny that the kid has a fever, but the banter and the delivery, I mean, if you were to look at it apart from reality, it was kind of hysterical. But then isn't reality, we're kind of like, what is going on with these people? Who lets somebody get up there and say something like that? She's supposed to be a doctor? A doctor of what? I'm a little confused. I'm not being snarky here, but I really would like to know, because even I know, and I'm not a doctor, although I should be and could be. I seem to know more than the real doctors. But 105-degree temperature. And we have a thermometer, and we were actually trying to replicate what 105 degrees feels like to a human body just by boiling water and stuff like that. It's kind of hard to get it up that high for...
It's too hot.
It's way too hot. So, you know, we just wanted to make sure that we weren't, like, losing it, you know? And I'm like, there's a lot, guys. Really, if you want some entertainment, unfortunately, go and watch those videos and read the transcripts, because you can actually sharpen your debate skills, so much of that. Anyway, but so he brought up a good point too. So we're like, what exactly is going on here? And then you see all these other cast of characters, we've come to know them as, and you have a supporting cast and all these things that they're doing, and I'm like, wait, that person looks like they're trying to take advantage of the situation to get more money for their pet projects, and like that has nothing to do with this virus and human beings dying. So again, we don't want to be insensitive, because there are people like legitimately dying, but I want to know, are they really dying from the virus, or are we just being told that? Or does the virus mean something else too at the same time, you know? The double meaning. I've never seen anything like this before. In scale, in ridiculousness, in severity, in heartache, and just all these different adjectives that go from one side of the spectrum to the other, because we're like, what in the world is going on? The media is really ramping this up. Anyway, so I thought that was a brilliant example. And another example too. I have a curiosity here. Now, we were going through my medical records, and there were certain things in certain places in my life, and where I had major things that should never have happened. You know, things that were caught in hospitals, on a school campus, and it looks like these things were put on me. Like a person was a carrier and purposely somehow made me sick. You know, in the hospital using a catheter, long clawed nails. It's like they didn't even use gloves, and they're checking to see how far along is dilated. And I'm like, that's wrong. And I got sick. And the hospital was wiped out. It used to be on Bruce Street, Women's Hospital in Las Vegas. It's gone now. Anyway, so, you know, we're just kind of questioning all of this. It's like, would somebody, oh my God, God forbid, but would somebody actually take a human being or several human beings and test these things on them in real life to find out what they're dealing with? You know, this virus almost seems like a lab-created thing. And is it Tom Cotton? Is that the right name?
I don't know who that is.
I think it's a senator. Please correct me if I'm wrong. We found the article and we sent it to your dad. But he was saying that it looked like it was a lab-created. Could be. I'm still trying to figure out how viruses can become immune to antibiotics, because it would have to mate with something. Here's the virus or whatever, and you have the antibiotic. So is it waiting for the antibiotic to fall from the sky and it mutates? I mean, or is it waiting to partner up with something else and just by chance it finds another amoeba and mutates? Because it can't mutate inside your own body. It degrades. That's science, guys. Yeah, born again Christian. I believe very, very much in science. But that does not make any sense to me. So, you know, people just say, oh, it mutated. The virus mutated. I'm like, I don't buy that anymore. Because I'm trying to use science. So I'm still trying to figure that one out. Mm-hmm. It would seem to me that viruses are now lab created and we don't have antibiotics against them. That would seem more plausible to me.
Yeah.
Anyway, but that's for another video and another day. Okay, but really, what if they're doing experiments? Is that possible?
Yeah.
It's been done before. Agent Orange, what happened in the Gulf War? The whole thing with the Spanish flu, 1917 and 1918, and they were finding symptoms and similarities with the gas chambers. What if that was a test to see pesticides, right? To see if that would work, God forbid, for the Holocaust. You know, World War II. Is that possible?
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, we have suffered from pesticide poisoning. If not exactly pesticide, it was something very close and smelled like that. And then it dissipates, but the byproducts from the chemical remain. And it causes symptoms, like it feels like a fever, but we weren't registering a fever. Mm-hmm. But it felt like that inside and felt clammy, and it had what you would call COVID-19 symptoms. See, this is why we're questioning everything. But the second we stepped outside, a few minutes later, the symptoms are gone. So obviously it was not COVID-19. But if you were to look at the CDC site, and it was weird because my lips were turning a little blue. And what was on the CDC site, we have the screenshots. And it says, if your lips are turning blue and you feel like you're going to pass out, you need to go to a hospital. And I'm like, are they listening to us?
Yes.
I'm not saying they were. But, you know, because of what we're enduring, we're kind of like, WTF. And that blue lips are not a sign of COVID-19. We asked. We actually called and we asked, and they were like, no. And I said, but it's on your website, what's going on? And so things have been up and down, and it's a mess. And there was a story, I think it was MSNBC.
I don't remember.
I think so, we have to look. But I think it was MSNBC. And they were talking about some of the anecdotal, that's Dr. Fauci's new catchphrase, anecdotal, stories about, I guess, President Trump and using hydroxychloroquine.
Chloroquine.
Chloroquine. He's trained. He actually has medical training. He's certified. He has to renew it every year or something like that.
Yeah.
We're going to get to that. There's so much to this. Oh, Lord help us. No, actually, Lord help the CDC or anybody else, because we've got some really good stuff here. And this is just us using logic and reasoning tables. And most of what is being told to us is not logical or reasonable. So yeah, what if they're doing experiments, and what if they've chosen me to do that? Because it's like, I'm not buying it anymore that, oh, I just so happen to have a horrible immune system. Actually, I was told I have a really good immune system. There's something that is coming at me and being placed on me. And in the light of everything else that we have been going through, intellectual property being stolen, someone has our electronic key breaking into our car, and we have all of our keys accounted for, somebody got an illegal copy, we are being followed, helicopters being chased by them. Come on. I wouldn't put it past these people. The they, you know, I would talk about the they, whoever they are.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need you again, are you right?
Yeah.
Okay.
You're at 26 minutes.
Oh, okay, so let's call this part 1, and let's go to part 2 right now.